Hey guys, so I have this JC120 here that I got for a pretty good price, but I think it has some problems. So let me show you what we can fix on this thing. First of all, it's pretty dirty, so we're going to clean that up. But I got it on the high channel over here. That works. So that works fine here. But the input jack's very loose and it's very crackling, so I need to fix that. Same thing over here with the low input jack. Very loose and it sometimes doesn't make contact. The bright switch actually works. I tested that. Some of the jacks are dirty or they need a replacement. This is a little dirty. We're gonna clean out all the pots. This input jack as well. There's a lot of noise, the input jack, so definitely so far all input jacks need to be replaced. There's something weird happening here that I don't get the chorus on the low, but I get it on the high, and I'm not hearing the chorus now, so it's weird. Sometimes the chorus turns on, sometimes it doesn't. I'm not hearing any reverb. So no reverb whatsoever, so I need to figure that out. So, okay, overall, it needs to be cleaned. All the input jacks need to be replaced. The reverb doesn't work, and the chorus and vibrato works sometimes. So, got a lot of work to do on this one. Let's see if we can fix it. I'm gonna go handheld here for a bit. Sorry for the wobbleness here. So I took this out of the amp. I think this is ready for cleaning, or maybe I'll get one of my nephews to start cleaning that. But the first thing I noticed, the very first thing I noticed, besides the bend over there, is that one of the wires for that's the tank for the reverb, the spring reverb, is like straight up cut. So I'm gonna solder that back on. And then the other thing I noticed, is this. It seems like the amp was maybe fell down, and it's got this big bend here. So yeah, so we're probably gonna bend that back carefully. And as a bonus, one of these was just floating around. Doesn't seem broken, but it was just floating around, and I can't find the little end screw. This is broken too, so there it is. Seems like someone replaced these already with some metal ones, but I'm just gonna, put those back, and yeah, and then just get to analyzing the rest. But yeah, those are the two quick fixes I can see right away, so I'm gonna go ahead and fix those. The thing I want to call out is that I'm looking at all the pots here. Let me see if this thing will focus. So I'm looking at all the pots, and they all seem new. Sorry, they all seem original. They all have the same look and feel. So that tells me that nobody has messed with the pots in this, which is good. And I can't really tell if there's been any maintenance on this. So it seems pretty stock, which is actually pretty nice. If anyone knows how to find the year of this thing, let me know. But it seems pretty old, maybe 90s or 80s. But yeah, the pots seem fairly stock. They have those mini pots there. So try to straighten this as much as I can. And I think that'll be as good as I'm gonna get it. It's not dead straight, but it's fine. I just don't want to overdo it. But I added new screws to the back, and so everything's there now. The switches seem fine. I haven't tested them, but they seem fine. I also did the reverb. Just connected that. That's working now. I'll show you guys that later. But yeah, the reverb for some reason just was, there was a wire that was cut there. So next thing is going to be to replace the input jacks. I need to order those. I don't have those. And I really need to find out what's going on with this thing. These are just not working very well. So maybe I'll diagnose some more and see what I can do there with that, with the chorus and the vibrato. So overall looking good. Alright guys, so I'm gonna have to wait for some parts, but I just ordered some of these. Of course, I'm not gonna get the originals here. I can't really zoom in because of this is a prime lens, but I ordered some Switchcraft, what is it, 11AX or something like that. I'll put a picture of them and the actual name up on the call, on the video. But yeah, I ordered some of those so that I can replace these. And they got some kind of special wiring going on there. They seem to be connected. So when the switch does not have an input jack in there, they're pretty much grounded. All inputs are grounded. But once you put an input jack in there, then that gets ungrounded, and then the actual signal gets sent to the board. It, may that be, you know, the blue one or the white one over here. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how it's working. But it makes sense, right? So when you don't have any inputs, it's just a ground. Everything's sent to ground. But once you have an input, it'll send that signal. Or if you have another input over here, then this one will be grounded, and it'll send that signal to the board. But anyway, I just ordered some of those, and so I'm gonna have to wait a couple of days, 3 to 5 days. Once I have those, I'll be back and try to fix this the rest of the way. Hey guys, so I'm going handheld here for a bit just to show you what's next. So here's I already took one of the, let me see if I can focus here. So I already took one of the inputs out, but these are what we're replacing. And if you remember with this one, there is 2 inputs, one high, one low, for each channel. And it's kind of interesting because each input has a mute function. So there's three pins on each input. I'm not sure if you can tell right there, but essentially one is hot, one is ground, and one is a mute, so that when the switch is not connected to an input jack, then the entire switch gets muted to ground. And I had to draw out how this actually looks like. So here it is. So so here's my 2 inputs, my high and my low. And it has a hot, it has a switch, and it has a ground. Same thing over here, hot switch, ground. All the grounds are going to be grounded, of course. And they would go to the board. The board has 3 inputs there, a ground, and 2 hots, okay? So, of course, all the grounds will be connected to the ground on the board. In addition, there's going to be a jumper between the switch on the low to the hot on the high. That's how it's actually connected, and sort of all the movement. And then finally, the switch on the high is going to be connected to ground. And of course, the hot on the high will be connected to number 1 on the board, and the hot on the low will be connected to number 2 on the board. This is an error right there. It should be, these are not connected. Just to show you where I'm looking at here, here's my 3 connections on the board. Sorry, I can't zoom in. I'm using a wide angle lens. But those are my 3 connections on the board. And of course, you know, my inputs will be in the front. So that's what's going to be next. I'm going to do that for all the inputs in the front. So that's 4 of them. Over here too. These are still connected to the panel. So that's what's next. I'm just going to film again once I have that done. Hey guys, so I think that did it. I only replaced. Okay, so I think that did it. I only replaced the 4 switches in the front and fixed the reverb. That was pretty obvious. And then just bent back some of these switches in the back. Bent back the panel. And it's I think that did it. It seems to be working now. Somehow the effects are working too. I did bend this back, the switch. I bent that back to where it's supposed to go. But we take a quick here. So that's nice and stiff. We got some reverb in there. Let's tune up. I'm totally out of tune here. Okay, here we go. So here, just no wiggle, nothing. Let's try this over here. I cleaned all the pots, so all the pots they're not as noisy as before, I believe. No, we're not on that channels, but all these are nice and quiet now. I mean, there's a hiss, but it's an old amp. It's an 80s amp, so what can you do? All right. So let me see if I can take your round thing here. I'll turn this thing off. All right, so I'm behind the amp now. Over here, all that I did was, this was bent, and I just bent it back, and I replugged all of these. I didn't change any wiring in the back, just bent it back, and that's it. Just gonna place the plugs where they were. Over here, let me zoom you guys in. All that I did here was, I cleaned all the pots, and I switched out these switches here to I think 111X Switchcraft pots. The ones with the I don't know if that's the model number, but it's the ones with the mute switch, with the additional function of a mute switch. So I switched those. I showed you guys that wiring. I used that wiring, and that was all that I did. This was a little bit bent, but from the outside. Let me see if I can show you that. So that switch goes through to the outside. That was bent. I just bent it from the outside, and I didn't really do anything else.